from the outside, yeah, that can look like, oh, are people losing faith? I don't actually think that's what's happening. It's much deeper than that. I think we're witnessing something much more profound right now. And it's almost like people are just dropping the maps, you know? That map they thought they had for their life, it doesn't even resonate anymore, because we are literally... This rebirth energy that we have been navigating, we've been having rebirths within rebirths, literally. We've been becoming new people over and over again. And so the maps that we had even a year ago, let alone 5 years ago, they just don't resonate anymore. And that can confuse some people. It can bring about that sense of, oh my God, I used to be certain about this. Now I'm not so sure anymore. They're making that mean something. You know, humans, we're so good at then telling stories because we want to understand the thing, but the stories that we're telling, they're actually limiting us. Now, the maps that we each held, you know, we've got the collective map, and then we've got our own individual maps that told us where our truth lived and where God lived, where enlightenment or ascension lived, right? Maybe it was where abundance lived. Now, the thing with those maps were, for a lot of people, I'm not saying everyone, for a lot of people, it was almost like someone else drew that route for them, okay? Whether that was the collective, the society, the religion, the parents or family structure, okay? And our job was simply to follow that. And I've said it a few times in recent times, even our own desires weren't even ours. And a lot of people didn't realize they were following someone else's desire. And a lot of people have woken up to that truth, not fully consciously yet. It is happening, but that's where a lot of the other confusion's coming from. It's like, I thought I knew what I wanted. It's that your soul is coming through stronger. She or he is telling you, this is actually the way for us, for our soul. And it doesn't look like that anymore. And that's bumping up against a lot of people's sense of their own reality. And so what happens when your map doesn't match the terrain that you're walking anymore? Yeah, you might think you've become lost, or maybe you took a wrong turn, or you wonder why you feel disconnected. Now, let me know if you have felt disconnected from spirit this year. I would be really interested to hear if, pardon me, if you have been experiencing that. And so you might have wondered, or you might have found yourself wondering multiple times this year if you've fallen off your path. It's more that the map is no longer useful. That's what it is. I could say that's all it is. But that would sound too simple, wouldn't it, for what we've been navigating this year? Because it's been big, and it's been a lot for humans. Like, it's been a lot. And so this is one of the greatest collective invitations unfolding right now. It's not to abandon it's not to abandon, you know, the sacred, your soul, your wants, needs, and desires. And actually, the invitation is to give yourself that space to realize what those even are first. This is very much about the end of outsourcing our power to people, institutions, you know, governments, the establishment. Psychics, not saying psychics are wrong. I love my psychic friends. I'm talking about the energy we're coming at them from has been this outsourcing, this abdication of power. And the reason why I'm bringing this through before the Sasquatch message, which I will be bringing through very shortly, is because this has been the energy that people have been in. They think they've lost their faith, or they believe they've lost their faith in whatever that was. And, I wanted to speak about just briefly the difference between that belief and that faith, because there is a profound difference. Belief really lives in the mind, doesn't it? Primarily. And belief will have us convince ourselves to hold on to ideas, making sense of things. Humans, it's like we have to understand, we have to make sense of things, right? Now, faith is something entirely different when we really look at this. And I'm not religious, by the way, even though I was raised a Catholic. Faith is faith is faith, religious or not. Faith is different. It's not something I think. For me, it's something I feel. Let me know if that resonates with you. Faith is almost like, in the way your body can soften. It's very likened to the energy of surrender. And, let me put it this way. It's like the moment I stop fighting that current enough to realize what I'm doing, right? Because we're going through life with faith. It's that softening. It's allowing my body, allowing myself to soften. It's the moment I stop fighting the current long enough to realize that it wasn't me carrying my life. My life has been carrying me. Okay? Now, that kind of faith doesn't begin in the mind, and I'm not saying that this is going to give you instant faith. Faith is a journey, isn't it? Faith can begin with that quiet whisper. Just a yes. I don't need an explanation. I don't need proof. I don't need evidence, right? I don't need to debate this. It's just a resonance. And the reason why I'm speaking to this is because I think sometimes what we do as humans is we confuse certainty with faith, because we were taught that faith means having all the answers, or having that true certainty. Now again, if you go to a religious leader, they might give you a completely different take of faith, okay? This is my perspective on this energy, especially as we're navigating it as it is right now, okay? And so for me, what faith has been, even in the ebbs and flows of my faith throughout my life, it's really been this energy of a willingness to keep walking even when my map completely fucking disappeared, right? And I can liken that back to the earlier days of my addiction, when I had no idea, or recovery, I should say. I put the drugs down. I surrendered for the first time in my life, and then I was going in blind. I had no idea at all what to expect. Literally had no map. But I felt guided by that higher power, or whatever you want to call it, and I was willing to just go with that. Thank God I did. Best thing I ever did in my entire life, because I wouldn't be here today. Simple. I knew at the end of my active addiction, I knew that within 12 months, if I kept going, I would either be locked up in jail or I would be dead. And that was a soul deep, like a bone knowing. Even though I was pretty messed up in the mind, I knew that really deeply. And so I guess I'm going through another layer of that right now. I have just quit vaping. And I was just talking to my husband today, and I said, oh my God, I'm not sleeping. My anxiety is through the roof. I said, and it actually reminds me of back in the day, 2014, when I put the drugs down and I went to rehab and I couldn't sleep. So my body was physically detoxing. Same thing is happening again. But I don't need the map. Okay, I'm being guided once again. I had this deep soul knowing a few weeks ago. It was like, you've got to put the babe down. Okay. All right, let's do this. Right? And I've been on that thing for a very long time. And so, what I'm getting at here, it's really about trusting what your soul knows. Your soul knows how to navigate the terrain that your mind has never even seen before. Okay, your mind is going to try and predict the future. Your mind is actually a prediction machine. It will try and predict your future based on your past. That's very limiting, isn't it? But your soul knows. And, this is, when we look at this collectively and span out, it's this void space that people have been feeling this year. Last year was the shedding. It was like we were in it, we were shedding. This year has been like this void space. And it's been so multi-layered, hasn't it? It hasn't just been like, oh, I'm in a void. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in this void. And this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening. And we're seeing it all, like, clearly. That's a part of it. We're seeing it all clearly. It's no longer hidden. Does that make sense? And so this is a part of the reason why so many people feel like they're in that void. They haven't lost the divine, okay? It's not that. It's not that. It's because the stories that they once wrapped the divine in don't fit anymore. It's almost like we've matured spiritually in a sense. Let me know if that makes sense. It's like we've matured. It's like our intuition and our psychic abilities have matured. Let me know if that makes sense. And, that's because so many old identities are dissolving. I think so many people are talking about this year. Therefore, old teachings aren't landing the same way. Old definitions of success just feel like, I don't even want that anymore. Old definitions of spirituality, you might look at that and go, I don't feel that way about that anymore. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of people go back to the Christian faith. They're looking for that deeper connection to the divine, especially to that Christ consciousness. And I'm not saying it's wrong to be a Christian. I'm not saying that at all. Just because I don't resonate with. Not that I don't resonate. I'm just I'm in my own lane. I've got my own beliefs pulled from here, there, and everywhere, and I'm good with that. I don't feel like I need to be boxed into a specific religion, if that's even the word. So I think that's why we're seeing that people are looking for something to give them that faith. Yeah, and this can bring about a real sense of grief, because it's like, again, for light workers, it's like you thought you knew what your purpose was, and now it's like, oh my God, what even is it? Right? Again, human storytelling, trying to make meaning of things, and it limits us. It can feel very unsettling, though. I want to honor that. I want to honor that, because when that map actually falls away, there's a season where all you can see is this open landscape, and it feels like that's where we are collectively. And it's like we're wandering around like lost souls, thinking it's all empty and directionless. It's not that. I know it feels like that. I'm in these energies too. I get it. I do. This field and this landscape is asking you to draw your own map, knowing that the stars will guide you, or God, or the universe, whatever you want to call it. And you can see how that's very likened to going back to our roots, back to the old ways where they could literally traverse oceans by the stars. And so I honestly believe that's what this season is about right now, is to stop searching for someone else's map or someone else's footprints or their path, so that you can finally notice and create your own. I know it can feel scary. So the deeper invitation here is to trust your own evolution. Trust that your soul is not abandoning you. It's inviting you into a relationship that no longer depends on borrowed certainty. It was all fake. You could say that anyway. It was all BS. And so I invite you to share your experiences with us in the comments below. I'm going to bring through our Sasquatch message around this. And I actually started off just channeling for myself, because like I said, I'm in this energy with you too, and it very, very quickly became a collective message, of course. So let's see. And you know, he actually started off because he could feel almost a franticness in my questions. And so he began by sending me this beautiful, soothing balm combined with Gaia's healing frequencies to like put me back in my body. And so you can ask the Sasquatch people or the Sasquatch Soul Collective, whatever you would like to call them, to send you that healing frequency. I've had them come into my room, especially when I had hip pain, probably a year ago now. And I had a very large Sasquatch come into my room, and he was using like infrared technology from his eyes, sending that into the cellular structure of my hip, and it's good now. Like, it's been good for a while now. But at that time, I could barely walk. Me and my husband walk every day for an hour. I could barely walk. I was like limping. I couldn't do our full route, and I was like feeling really bummed about that. And yeah, I had 2 or 3 Sasquatch beings come in over that week and sending me just some beautiful healing energies. They're like the OG healers of the planet. So you can ask them. Now, oh, he was schooling me a bit, telling me I'm taking myself too seriously. And then, you know, he said, this is not just a you problem. It's not even a problem. This is a collective process of undoing the lies, dissolving the distortions, and restoring balance to the places and spaces where control and power have been misused and the people abused through this distortion, ego, control, spirit loop. If you are wondering what is even important anymore or questioning everything, good. That's the appropriate energy to be in for what is coming next. No longer are you sheep flocking together through fear and following the shepherd. You are using discernment, free thinking, and you're asking the right questions. Those who used to question the system were singled out, shamed, even executed. This created a fear-based pack mentality not to rock the boat and play the game of follow the leader. This old architecture is collapsing. This is why many of you are now realizing that you no longer care about the things you used to. This is not really apathy, so it's presenting as apathy, right? This is the next octave of truth. Celebrities, gurus, fancy schools, millions, mortgages, and material possessions. Many of you would gladly trade all of that for a simpler, intentional, fulfilling life of truth and connection. So he's speaking to the collective, obviously, that will see this video. That's the shift, and it's big for maybe even only a year or two ago, you would have thought very differently. But the great shedding of 2025 has left you all in a different space. It feels like a bit of a predicament for some, not knowing what is coming next or what's to come. And no matter how hard you try, it evades you. This has been the greatest difficulty for Lightworkers in particular. But know this, you are not meant to see the whole path. Only the present moment, remembering that that is a gift. You're now. So rather than ask, what is coming? What is next? We invite you to ask, what is now? What is important right now? Is it a nap? Cuddling your pets and your children, making a cup of tea and engaging in a nourishing conversation. Perhaps it's meditation. For you will reach a point in your human lifetime on your deathbed, and you will realize that what was important was the small blessings that meant the most to you, probably not the things that you had or accomplished. And so, like, I feel really, it's not sad, just teary, like, it's a soul truth, right? And so I asked, what about the Lightworkers and money? If things aren't that important. And then he laughed. He laughed at me not at me, but he laughed at that question. And he said, of course, money is important. Of course, you should be paid for your services. In fact, we encourage this, for this is the construct that you live in, right? The financial construct. As humans, you are the only beings on the planet that need money to survive, unless you wish to live like us, which is not easy for a human. Not easy at all. We were created not to need all of those things. Back to Lightworkers. As sensitive souls, you are picking up in the shifting money grid, okay, the templates. You feel this on a cellular level, and many of you have interpreted this as lack, limitation, and scarcity because things are changing. The markets are shifting. AI is changing how people market and structure their business, and also people, how they purchase. That is all background noise. You as a light worker will be sought out now more than ever as a human who can heal, guide, facilitate, etc. These are things that AI simply cannot do. So it is imperative that you make yourself available. And whether you decide to charge $100 or $1,000 for your sessions, know this. These are just numbers. Choose the number you can get behind and stop making it mean something about your worthiness, for your worthiness is inherent. We also offer you this perspective. It does not matter how many followers you have before you can make a difference. Remember to follow your own soul desire, and he said that's a key. Someone might be happy with their thousands of followers and $10,000 a month. Someone else might be happy with their 1,000 followers and, a few $1,000s or $5,000 a month. Or 300 followers and a few $1,000s a month. Numbers are numbers are numbers. Someone with 20,000 followers might be making $100 a month. Some healers will be happy with their returning loyal clients and make $1,000 or $2,000 a month to supplement their income. It is all perfect. And so as the money grids shift from the old template encoded with fear, just be present and patient, for a new fifth dimensional grid is slowly being installed. So watch this space. which is a little bit exciting. Now is actually a perfect time to harness the 888 portal gateway energies that we are navigating. Don't wait until the 8th to work with these energies, okay? It's open right now. You can work with it right now. I would encourage that. If you would like a little support, a little boost with that, I'd have the link below to the 888 portal, it's a mouthful, portal gateway audio transmission. It's 22 minutes, and we're bringing in the frequencies of bending time and stabilizing the identity that you have all been working so beautifully hard to create this year. It's really going to help you ground that in, stabilize that energy, bending time, and a beautiful alignment to expand into the frequency of infinite abundance, working with the great central sun, the Syrian and Lyran lineages and star frequencies. So if you would like to check that out, the link will be below. I'm sending you so much love. I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks in Outback, Australia. It's like a 15-hour drive away. There was a reported hairy man, aka Sasquatch, sighting deep inland. So my husband and I are going to be traveling for maybe 3 or 4 days to get to the location. So exciting. We're gonna hang around the area for a couple of weeks. I will be recording and all the things, and so the video will be published here sometime, possibly by the end of August, depending on how much footage we are capturing. So with that being said, I may not be bringing through an energy update next week. I'm sending you so much love. Bye.